Alright, fellas, ladies, kids, whoever's out there watching, there's a little nymph tied on this jig hook, this barbless jig hook. It's funny. Just a little generic nymph, kinda like a triple threat, if you're familiar with that. I think that's a Aaron Jasper fly, but it's not exactly like his, and I don't know, I think it fishes a little better, honestly. I've fished his. It's a good fly. But yeah, anyway, so let's get started. Black thread, UTC 70, ultra thread, UTC. Take that to about the point of the hook, and then we're going to tie in the tail. And for the tail is just it's like this purple, dark purplish, blackish pheasant tail. I use about, I don't know, 6 strands or so. It's about it. You don't want too many. You start making a big bulky tail, and that'll slow the drop rate of your fly, and we want it to drop as quick as we can and get it down there. Those fish are, oh yeah, by the way, this is a fly tie-in source jig hook, and the beads from there, it's a 2.5 millimeter tungsten bead, copper. This particular fly is part of a little pack of flies I'm putting together for my buddy out in Utah, Dalen. Sorry bro, it's taking me forever to get on top of this, and the post lost the first batch, so then a lot of stuff has come up, and just real hectic stuff going on with my dad, kids going back to school, work, all kinds of stuff. So if you're watching this video, Dalen, I apologize, brother, but I'm working on them every chance I get, man. It's a big order, bro. Anyway, some extra small copper wire, and we're going to use some pearl. It's pearl quill medium. It's from Hens, if you guys can see that, and the code is the PQM. It's number 48. This is good stuff, man. I'm gonna tie that in as far back as I can, because I don't like to waste this stuff if I don't have to. Just tie that in, and I wrap it all the way up. If you guys are wondering why am I going all the way up, it's because I'm going to lay down some more pheasant tail, and I just want a nice taper, slight taper I should say. 4 to 6 strands of this. You want to keep it as kind of thin, but it doesn't have to be. I've tied this fly extremely thin with like 2 strands and real light thread wraps to get it as thin as possible, and I've tied it a little on the thicker side, and it gets eaten just as good both ways. So I'm gonna catch that in just like that, wrap that back to where the tail's tied in, and then advance the thread forward. I'm gonna make my wraps with the pheasant tail away from me, and just wrap that up. You could use hackle pliers if you wanted to, if you need to. Go for that. 3 wraps and then 1 behind it, kind of lock it in a little bit, and I'm gonna counter wrap the pearl quill, and I try to get at least 3 of those on a size 16. Give it some cool flash and some segmentation. You know, this doesn't look like anything really, but it has a silhouette of a nymph, and I think the colors just trigger bites. I don't know. Same deal with your copper wire. You could use the rotary feature, your vise, to do this, but when you're really cranking out a lot of bugs, it's just quicker to do it by hand. Might not be as nice, but if you tie this fly enough, or any fly enough, you'll know it looks good and what doesn't. Then I'm going to add some dubbing, and I'm just using brown UV ice dub, and just a little bit, not much, just enough to give the CDC legs something to lay up against and keep them up off the body while it's drifting. That's good. Maybe wrap through there. Grab some CDC. Where's that stuff at? Here we go. Right here I got some Hens CDC. Code 10. This stuff's junk. It's terrible CDC. I mean, it's fairly cheap, but it does work. But just the feather, it's just a mix of all the different types of feathers, fluff, puffs, and it just sucks, man. Get yourself quality CDC if you're going to be tying with it a lot. That's a good piece of advice. Good CDC is gold, because working with the junk CDC sucks. Anyway, so you can do this one of two ways. You can, if you guys can see that, you can strip the CDC down like this. And you gotta have a soft hand, because you'll rip it off the stem if you're not careful, like that. And then what I do is I'll cut the tip off and then cut right here to make all that even. Split the thread with a needle or bodkin, insert this into the thread, cut it along the stem here, spin the thread, and then you can wrap it around, and it's great, but it's time consuming. So what I will do here is I'm going to come in here and just clip out the tip of the stem, pull all the feathers forward like this as best I can, and then pinch them forward, lay them on top here like that, kind of like a V, and try to get it where you want, but you can pull it back to get the length of the legs you want, and just pinch it. And once you pinch it, just give it a little twist like that to kind of roll them around. Make sure your thread's flat, and then lock that in with 2 turns, 3 turns, and lock it down. And yeah, that looks fine. So then I'm going to pull this up and just cut it like that. I'm going to go in here, clip the stem out, and then push your CDC back, two or three wraps and a half hitch. And then we're going to add a hot spot to this fly. We're going to add a pink hot spot, and for this we're using the Vivus body quill. This is number BQ12. You guys see that? Alright, BQ12. So we're just going to add a little collar here. We're going to make 3 wraps. Wrap the tag in around twice. 1 more wrap, half wrap, whatever. Clip that. Pull everything back. And go ahead and build up a little head here, collar, I should say. And then we're going to whip finish. A little big on the collar, and then snap that off. After you do that, if you got anything left over, you come in here and trim it, or if you need to come in here and trim up some CDC, get it where you want it, or if you got too much, cut some out, but that looks good. And then we'll just take a drop of UV resin here. What do I got here? That's loon. I don't want the loon. Here we go. There's the Deer Creek. I think they still make this. I guess they still make it. I don't know. Give it a little shake. Grab my lights. My light worked. Yep, light's working. It's been a while since I tied any flies. Pull this stuff back and just put a little drop on the top there. That'll just keep it together in case you start catching fish, which this fly tends to do quite often. Hit it with the torch a couple times for a second there, and that's it. It's just a little generic nymph. I don't really have a name for it. It just catches fish, man. It's a good fly. Tie some up. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.